Well, good morning, YouTube. All right, guys, I am up. It's just a little bit after 9:30, but I got up early because I got to move this truck. Because we pulled in last night, they were stacked deep, so I just parked at the end of the road, which wasn't actually a parking spot, and now I'm the guy that's out in the middle of the freaking parking lot. I mean, I'm actually in the middle of the road. I didn't even realize it last night, but let's get this thing moved to a parking spot and get the generator unhooked. So you guys, here's the aisleway, the row of trucks. And if I just turn around exactly where I'm at, I'm literally just out in the middle of the road. But I promise, last night there was a whole bunch of trucks lined up through here, and I was just at the end of trucks. And there was plenty of room around me for everybody to get around. So when I parked, I wasn't the bonehead, but I'm afraid if I leave it here, somebody will put me on bonehead trucker saying I don't know what I'm doing or whatever, because they don't know the whole story. All right, guys, there we go. In a parking spot, well, a parking spot and a half anyways. The trailer is sticking way into the spot behind them, but at least now we're not getting up on say no to bonehead truckers. But if you do see me there, you know why. All right, but now, first thing is first, gotta go get some coffee for me, some coffee for Katie. Well, as bad as the roads were yesterday, I'm really surprised that is all the mess that I have in here. Like I said, when I closed last night's video out, guys, I was tired, kind of delirious a little bit maybe, and I just didn't feel like getting into a big discussion, and I knew that video was long enough already. But today, our drive is going to be much shorter. From where we're at, I believe we're only about 2.5 hours away from Speedway. Now, that's what Katie told me. I didn't check it myself, and sometimes she is known for giving me some bad misinformation. Yeah, me knew. See, it looks like just that one tray of miscellaneous nuts and bolts and fasteners had fallen off of this counter. It was sitting up here, and I noticed it rattled off, so I set it here, and usually stuff on this counter doesn't move too much. But I'm telling you, these roads up here in the Northeast. So yeah, one of my gripes about yesterday was coming through Virginia, coming down that long downhill that's just north of Blacksburg, and trucker in front of me, well, he was a ways in front of me. He was going like stupid slow. Now keep in mind, I go slow down the mountains. So the speed limit there was still 70 mile an hour, I think. And I slowed down to like 50, 55, downshifted to 7th gear, basically took it out of overdrive, and turned the Jakes on, at least, you know, it's the most powerful setting I have, which, you know, is lacking. But either way, that way most times people that are going 70 can still get around me, but I'm not really holding anybody up per se. Well, this guy just kept hitting his brakes over and over and over again, slowing down to like 40 mile an hour. I don't know, maybe he didn't have a Jake brake, I'm not sure. But he was so hard on his brakes, we could smell his brakes just like Goliath. And at one point I could see a little bit of smoke coming off of his trailer brakes. I mean, it wasn't a lot, it wasn't about to catch him on fire, but he was definitely overworking them. The problem with that is a car had squeezed in between the two of us and took up some of that braking distance we had. And this is what's crazy about it is, yeah, I get that I'm going slower, but these cars, they come flying past me, and then they go to get back over in front of me, not realizing that the vehicle in front of me is going slow as well. So then they cut in and take up that braking space that I'm leaving myself, and then they got to slam on their brakes because the vehicle in front of them is only going 2 mile an hour faster than I'm going, or less. And in this case, I was already catching the truck, so when that car jumps in there, anyway, stuff like that happened over and over again. But yeah, even once the guy got out of that downhill, he was in and out of lanes. He couldn't keep it straight. I don't know what was going on. I don't know whether he was distracted or just had no idea what he was doing, but he was messing. It took forever to get around him. In the hills, I can't just pass. You know, Goliath is very slow on the uphill grade. So I got to time it right, because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that douchebaggy bonehead trucker that's out there in the left lane trying to pass somebody that I really don't have enough power to pass. So I ended up sitting behind that guy for a good 20 miles after that before I finally had the opportunity to safely and responsibly get around him. And then of course I found somebody else that was doing the same thing. And the odometer reading, I put that in there yesterday. Probably shouldn't have, hindsight being 2020, because I didn't talk about it. So I'll probably try to remember to put it back in this video when I edit this today. But yeah, I missed when Goliath turned 200,000 kilometers. Keep in mind, that's a metric dash on there. So that's 200,000 kilometers. So when you actually convert that into miles, it's much lower. But I missed the 200,000. So I just happened to see the 200 and 200 going on. So that's why it says 200, 200. I don't know. Senseless stuff that I thought was interesting. So even though I had 13 hours of actual drive time, 13 and a half hours of actual drive time yesterday, because we only stopped that one time, I feel like I just didn't make very good time. I mean, we got where we needed to go, but between the rain and the idiot drivers and the construction zones, there were times for 20 miles I was going 55 into 70 or even into 65 just because it was the safe thing to do. And that definitely slowed us down a lot. We didn't cover as much ground. And the roads are just terrible. Now, I've been traveling I-81, especially through Pennsylvania, almost all of my life. Even as a kid, when we took our family vacations up to visit our family in New York, Finger Lakes region, that's the route we take. So I honestly, in my 48 years, I can't remember a single time that I've gone through there in I-81 through Pennsylvania not been torn up somewhere, under construction, every single time. It's like it's a never-ending project. For years now, they've been trying to work on the road there through Wilkes-Barre and Scranton. And, there's no construction there now. That part is done. However, the roads still suck. They're still bumpy. They're still, just all over the place. And Goliath, especially because he's come top heavy. So when you get to those spots, you just get that rocking and rolling, and it's a little uneasy, but you get used to it after driving for so long. But once we got off of 81 and onto 84, headed east, man, that's when the construction got really bad. And it was a lot of uphill grades with really narrow roadways. And man, it was just slow going through there. And of course the rain, it was just awful. But the worst was, believe it or not, in Connecticut. So in between Danbury and Woodbury, I think those were them, they had this construction zone to where, like, out of nowhere, they slowed us down to 40 mile an hour and narrowed the road to 11 feet and made us get off of 84, loop around a couple other places to get back onto 84 to keep heading east. But the route they took us even brought us through some little hairpin steep incline turns that I barely had enough room to get through. Because remember, Goliath doesn't have a good turn radius. It doesn't turn like a tractor trailer does. I need a lot more room to make a turn. So I just had to go really slow, first gear around it, holding up the people behind me, but I had to make sure that I did my part right. But it was close, and it was just bumpy and super, super narrow. And it was just crazy. So yeah, nothing really bad happened yesterday by any means. It just seemed like somewhat of a stressful day trying to navigate everything. So by the time we got here and parked, I was just exhausted. All right, guys, so I re-secured the car, double-checked the bike. Everything else in here looks like it's fairly secure. That mess on the floor, well, I'm leaving it. We've only got 2.5 hours until we get to Laconia, and I just know that the way my luck has been, if I take the time right now to clean all that up and reorganize it, it's going to end up on the floor again by the time we get there. So I'm just going to leave it there. That way we're going to clean my mess up once when we arrive. Where I couldn't turn around, and they're building a new Love's here, so I stopped in to try to make a U-turn in their parking lot, and I ran into Mark. Turns out he's a subscriber. Caught me at my worst.
Yeah, no, we're here to help.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you letting me use your lot. Thank you.
When you headed up there.
Well, guys, that was actually pretty amazing. So let me show you what I did here. If you look way over there, you'll see there's an on-ramp to get onto the interstate. Well, that's where I was supposed to be. You see where the truck's coming down? Well, I missed that turn, and I ended up coming across this bridge and then up this road here, and it was going to put me on the interstate the wrong direction. So I came up this road, and right here they're building a brand new Love's, but the driveway's all blocked off. I looked on the maps, I went straight down this road. It didn't look like there was any chance of being able to turn around, and way too hard to try to back out of. At least at this spot right here, I know if I absolutely had to, Katie could block traffic and I could always back down. But I went up to the construction site where they're building the Love's and talked to somebody and asked if I could move their barricades and pull into their parking lot and then kind of three-point back it back out. And they said, I don't think that'll be a problem as long as you put all the barricades back. So I moved all the barricades and I went to go pull in, and I realized that if I went into the parking lot around the fuel islands, the car fuel islands, not the truck fuel islands, because they'll get that parking lot a mess still, I could make it around. I didn't ask permission to do that though. So I decided to just do it anyways. So I started creeping through the parking lot really slow because it's a really rough entrance because they don't have the road finished. And as I'm pulling in, I see a guy notice me, and he starts walking over to the truck. I'm like, great, this guy's gonna yell at me for pulling into this parking lot. I hope he understands that, I just got in a spot. And as he walks up, I'm waiting to catch hell from him. And he goes, hey, I watch you on YouTube. And anyway, Mark, you were a really cool guy. Thanks for letting me use your parking lot to turn around in. You make things a whole lot easier than what the alternative could have been. So anyway, now that I know where I'm going, let's get back on the road and go. windy out here. But guys, we're here. We made it. It's only a little after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we are at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And look, we're parked right next to our competitors. Chris over Cycle Solutions, and Lucas and the Amzo side by side, ready to battle, ready to duel to see who's the best. We know who's the best. Who's kidding, right? Not even close. Guys, look at the specs. Not even close. All right, well guys, we've been just kind of hanging out and chilling. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening now, and we're actually gonna go out and get some dinner. We got some other vendors here that we're actually really good friends with. Just been kind of hanging, chilling, whatever, just relaxing after the 2 days of driving. It was kind of nice. I know you've seen those bikes in a lot of my videos. Joey and his wife Carolyn, they run a business called All About Customs. He does custom air rides and handlebars and fat tire kits and so on and so forth. They're really good people. If you guys are interested in something like that, definitely check them out. They will be set up here at the Speedway with us. We are not allowed to set up until tomorrow, so we're just hanging out here. But tomorrow looks like a lot of rain. Nothing but rain all day long, so we'll be lucky if we can at least get moved into our spot and get Goliath all leveled out. Chip and Joey aren't going to get here until Friday morning to start setup, so maybe we'll just take tomorrow and go goof off and do something. Who knows? It'll be raining, so we'll probably go in the Mini Cooper. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. And once again, till the next time I see you, keep those engines running.